Hi friends, Mindy here. Welcome back to another episode of Can Mindy Make It? I was challenged by my friend Erin to create a junk journal out of just some items that you would have on hand at your house, just some household things. So I have pulled out some little boxes and some brown like craft paper. I have some things that came in the mail, just these kind of heavy duty flyers. This is actually like a fold out book, and then some more junk mail. These flyers are really good, but they're really heavy cardstock like this because you can do a lot with them. You can actually make covers and stuff out of them. So this one has some really pretty imagery on it that I'll probably use, and just some more mail. Envelopes of all shapes and sizes. I have some tea bags. After I make the tea, I just leave the tea bag to sit and dry. And then once the tea is dry, I open them up and empty them out. I also have some coffee filters. This white paper actually came wrapped around a book in the mail. And then I have some bubble wrap. This is a brown paper bag. You could use like lunch sacks, would work really well. Those create good pockets and different things. And then I have some more tea bags, and I just pulled a whole bunch of different things, obviously. Some more mail, some different envelopes. Security envelopes are great because they have that design in the background. I also have some cardboard here, and then I have this other piece. This is corrugated cardboard. If you have some of this is great. If you like doing art journaling or junk journaling, you can peel off one of the layers, and then you're left with this really cool design. This makes really good texture. I will actually use this to help decorate some of my pages. So these are just some of the kind of things that I pulled out. Also, I pulled out this magazine because I just loved the imagery on the front. So I'm actually going to use that for my cover. So the first thing is I have these boxes, which I thought is what I was going to use for my covers. That's pretty typical for me for an art journal. And I wanted to work small this time. So these were like kind of the perfect size. And so I'm just opening up this. This is actually some cream cheese, a box, and I thought it was the really good height, but it was kind of narrow. And then I also have this this box, and this was a little bit wider, but it wasn't as tall. And so I really am enjoying working kind of small and pocket size type things, and so I thought that's how I wanted to go. But in the end, after I got these trimmed down, I just kind of trimmed off all of the little flap parts. I just decided they were just not really the size that I wanted. So I'm going to go ahead and just trim them down, and then I'll save these. I'll probably use them to create a couple little journals down the road. But for today, what I decided to do is use this mailing that came from a local car dealership. And it's really, really thick, heavy cardstock. I mean, it's glossy, but it's really, really heavy paper. And so it's going to make it actually a really good cover for just this little journal that I'm going to be doing today. So I'm trimming this down, and keep in mind, this process, even though I'm working pretty small, this idea of using your junk mail and all of those kinds of things, leftover papers and stuff, is kind of universal. So you could do this in any size that you really want it to do this in. So I just, for this particular project, just decided I wanted to work small. So I'm taking one of these envelopes here, and I just trimmed it down just ever so slightly to kind of create a pocket, and then I folded it in half, and I'm just going to start assembling the pieces of what are going to be my signature. So I have another little mailing here that came. I'm just going to fold this into kind of a tri-fold card here, so it will like flip out. It just gives you a little bit more space for like writing and journaling or whatever. And I'm using my bone folder to fold this because this is really heavy paper as well. And I'm just using that cover just to kind of guide like my size. I want all the pages to be different sizes and different textures and different papers. That's just, to me, that's the fun part of a junk journal like this. So I'm just using the cover to kind of, make sure that everything's going to fit inside it. I don't mind if things actually stick up a little bit on the edges. And then I have this white paper, like I said, that came from, it was actually wrapped around the Bible that I got my husband for our anniversary. And so I'm just using that. I actually just trimmed that down with my scissors, and then it was still a little bit too big. So I'm going to come in with my ruler and kind of tear it down. I kind of wanted those rough edges as well. I didn't want everything to be just real super neat and clean. I like all of those edges and textures and things in a junk journal like this. So I'm just kind of playing with different things. You can see I have a coffee filter over to the side. I end up not using that. And I took this junk journal, this envelope, junk mail envelope, and I just opened it up, and then I am going to tear it down with my ruler, and then I can use this in a different way. So I will actually, instead of using it like a pocket, I'm actually going to use this as a journaling spot. So I'm just using the fold that's already in there from it being an envelope, and I'm just trimming down like the little excess pieces off of the edge. And again, this is one of those ones that has that really, cool design on the inside. So it, instead of just having just a plain white envelope, and you get these with your bills every month, so you might as well make something pretty out of them. So I put it in there in the middle, and it was kind of sticking out, so I just moved it to the outside of the signature, and that just made it so that it would fit in there a little bit better. And then I decided I wanted to do a little bit more craft paper in there. So I just took another page and made another little tri-fold thing. So it'll have a little flap that folds out. And now I need to kind of deal with my cover. So one of the things that I like to use these tea bags for is to kind of reinforce things. They kind of act as a really good Band-Aid. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take a glue stick, and this is a Yoo-Hoo glue stick, and I'm going to cover the spine of this cover just to make sure, just to kind of reinforce it. Again, I mean, we're dealing with junk mail, so it's not going to last for eternity, but this will kind of help it will just kind of help reinforce that seam. So just using my glue stick and burnishing it down with my bone folder, and then I'll trim off the excess, and then I'll do that for the inside part as well. And that's just going to create a really good kind of reinforcement for my cover here. And then I'm just sliding all of my signatures back here, my little signature, back into my cover, making sure everything is going to fit okay. And now I'm going to go ahead and bind my signature. I'm actually doing this before I decorate the cover, because at this point I really wasn't sure how I was going to decorate the cover. So I'm just going through here and making sure all my pages are where I want them to be in the signature, because they're all different sizes. And I'll be using a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. And if you've watched my channel before, you've heard me say this, that you want to make sure that your pages are in there so that they're being held by at least 2 of the holes that you make. So I just wanted to go through there and make sure everything was going to do that. And you could measure this and be very accurate if you wanted to. I am just eyeballing it. Again, it's a handmade junk journal, so sometimes I will measure things, but not for a project like this. So I'm actually using waxed linen thread for this project because it's going to slide through all these different textures and stuff easier. So I've threaded my needles, and most of the time you'll see me go from the inside middle hole to the outside so that my strings are on the inside of the book when I'm finished. But I actually decided to do it the opposite way so that my strings are on the outside. That way I can, if I want to, I can hang something from the little strings or whatever. So I'm just kind of going through here from this middle hole. So I'm on the outside going to the inside, and I'm just going to work this through here, and I'm going to leave a tail on the outside, and then I'm going to go to the top hole. So now I'm going back to the outside, and then I'm going to go all the way to the bottom hole from the outside to the inside, and then I'll go back through the middle hole. And again, when you go through that middle hole that last time, you want to make sure you don't split the string from where you were earlier, because you won't be able to get it tied tight if you do that. So again, I've done this binding several times on my channel, and so I'm not really doing this as a tutorial for that necessarily, but you can find, it's called a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. You can probably find a good tutorial if if that was confusing. So anyway, I'm just kind of adjusting the strings to make sure everything is tight, and then I will tie this off in a knot here, and then I'm just going to pull my needle, and I'm going to leave those strings for now at the length that they are. I may cut them down. I haven't decided, so until I do, I'm just going to leave them like they are. So the next thing that I am going to do is decorate the cover. And so I'm going to pull in that magazine that I had. I love the cover of this magazine. I love the colors of it. I think it's so beautiful. So, and magazines are a really good way to start like collages and that kind of stuff if you are doing junk journaling or whatever. And so I am just going to use, again, my Yoo-Hoo glue stick. I'm covering the entire cover, making sure to go off the edges, which is why I have that paper underneath there. And then I'm going to put my image down, and then I'm just going to burnish it down really, really well so that it will stick. I don't like to use liquid adhesives for this, because especially with magazine images, because it can make them bubble and that kind of stuff. So glue sticks are an easy way to do that. So I'm going to use some other images from this magazine to do the back, and then also I'm going to come in and do the inside covers as well, using kind of those same color palettes from this magazine. I love the purples and teals and greens. It's my color palette. So I'm going to go ahead and just cover all of the pieces of the cover here. So that's what that looks like when they're finished. And I might go back in and doodle on them or do all kinds of things. I haven't quite decided how I'm going to actually work in this journal yet. And then I decided I was going to create a little, just kind of give you some ideas. I'm going to create a tag, and I'm going to use some more of the junk mail. This is actually the part that I cut off from the cover. So I'm just trimming it down to fit inside this envelope, and then I'm going to cut off my little triangle shape. And then the trick is you just take that little triangle shape that you cut off, you flip it and put it on the other side, and then trim that, and you will get a pretty uniform tag shape. Sometimes it's hard to eyeball that and get the angle the same, so that's just a trick to doing that. And then I'm just going to cover this with some of that brown paper, and on both sides I just went ahead and used my glue stick, and now I have a little tag that fits perfectly inside this envelope, and it'll be fun to decorate that tag so that you can see, whatever through that little window. So I have some other pieces in here that I want to cover. I'm not going to cover every surface, but just to kind of get everything started. So I have this junk mail that came, and I love the imagery in those kind of blocks. So what I did is I just kind of cut them down. So I had like 6. And what I'm going to do is create a little tuck spot here. So I'm just creating a little pocket, adding glue on 3 of the sides, and I am gluing that to this envelope here. This is just going to create another little spot. It's one of the fun things about junk journals and stuff, in my opinion, is creating little pockets where you can tuck things and keep your notes and all that kind of stuff. I'm just kind of holding this down until that glue dries a little bit. And then I went ahead and did some other pages off camera, and so I'll just kind of walk you through and show you what I've done. So this is the cover. This is the pocket that I just created with that little junk mail. I added some more magazine images there. This is the tag that we created. This is another magazine image. I just glued that down. And then this is just a journaling card I had in my stash. And on the back side, the colors just really coordinated with that. And so I just glued that down and made a little pocket. That section right there is actually part of a trifold. And so it was a really narrow piece. And so this just gave it a little bit more height doing it that way. I used a journaling spot here to create some more pockets. And then here's where I did that with the cardboard. I just put some gesso on there, and I just kind of stamped it down. And that's going to actually give me some lines to journal on. And then this piece is not completely covered. I just added some gesso to it. And I'll come back in and when I'm actually using this journal, and I can decorate those pages and cover all of those things up. And then there's the little flip part. And then this is that security envelope. I need to peel off that little film. and then I can decorate that. And then this is the address part. I'll cover the part that says from, and then I can use those lines to journal on. So that is my little junk journal for today. If you have any ideas for future Can Mindy Make It challenge videos, I would appreciate it if you left them down in the comments below. And if you would like to see how this journal turns out after I have worked in it for a while, leave that in the comments below as well, and I will do kind of a follow-up video for that. So if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. That helps other people find my channel. And until next time, bye.